Guys, listen up. There's not there's not a slackness upon this challenge, but listen up. Sing this song with me. It goes a look at something like this. Check this out. I've seen this happen so much times. I've seen this happen so much times. Friends to love one. So till they name me life and no, 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 yeah, 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 just not. It's your boy Perfection back again, guys, with the all new anticipated evil intelligence versus good intelligence, or predictable bad versus predictable good. Now, before we get started, guys, because this does actually tie in to the previous video, it ties into it. Okay. So let's just clear up a few things from the previous video. Right. So someone that's a broken record, I said in the beginning, is a broken record the same as someone that's damaged? Someone that's damaged is almost like me talking to you. Basically, imagine someone with a chip on the shoulder. That's someone damaged. Someone that always has a chip on the shoulder. So when they're in a room, you've got to tread on eggshells. You've got to be really, really careful, because you could say something, and it could be something because people basically try to say that I have got a chip on my shoulder and I have to walk around eggshells around me. That's BS. I'm sorry, that's BS. Tell me when you've had to walk around eggshells around me. Tell me something basic you've said that I was heavily offended by. So it's when you're in a room with someone and basically you've got to watch out for everything you say. I remember saying to one guy, we were doing some delivery job, and I said something to him, and basically it was something really basic, and he just flipped out, and I just couldn't believe it. And when he flipped out again, I'm one of those people where, whereas other people can kind of laugh it off and just say, come on man, we're joking man, or I'm joking man, relax bro, I'm just joking, innit? I'm not one of those people, because I know that I've said something that you shouldn't take offense to. So when you've kind of responded in that negative way, it's kind of like it's hit me. I think because I'm not too far myself from being permanently damaged. I'm not too far from a damaged person. I've gone through some stuff in my life. I'm not too far from it. So I think when I come across people like that, it makes me feel sick, because maybe I'm not too far from them myself. But I'm not. I can if you believe that I've flipped out on basic things that you've said to me, tell me. Okay? So basically, someone that's damaged is someone that permanently is walking around with a chip on their shoulder, and they'll probably walk around the rest of their life that way. Probably end up in jail. They've probably been to jail a few times as well. Okay, I'm not too far from it, because I've been there, but I've clawed my way out of that hole. I said no way. I'm not gonna let my past experiences, could be a child abuse, some people are sexually abused and all that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna allow this anger to kind of consume my whole life, and I'm walking around depressed and angry and no one wants to be around me. That's damaged. Okay. Then the broken record thing basically is someone that's continuously talking about the same thing, it's almost like me having a really evil child at home, and he keeps doing things, and every time I see my neighbor I keep talking about that child, and he's an evil child, and then 10 years later, 10 years later when they see me, I'm still talking about him. Oh, you know what Daniel done the other day? Daniel stole my car, and you think, that's the broken record. Okay, when you're continuously talking about something that's really negative, and you refuse to move on from it, or maybe you just don't have a choice, because you're still there, you're still in that negative environment, and you don't know how to get out of it. Okay. Right, so now that we've said that, let's get into this topic. Let's get into the topic of predictable bad versus predictable good. Okay. I always think about my people, black people, and I always wonder, like, how did we somehow become not just enslaved by other people, but like where we're at. Like I've always preached in my videos that seeing that we're at the bottom of the ladder, and and many other races are kind of trying to hold us down there, refuse to see us kind of rise up. But how did we get into this situation in the first place? Because we're not really It's not, some racists say, okay, they're dumb and they're stupid. That's not the truth at all. I can look in the face and tell you that's not the truth. It's definitely not because we're not physically weak. So how did we somehow get into this situation? And I'm using black people as an example, but it really has nothing to do with color. It has something to do with evil intelligence versus good intelligence. Okay, predictable bad versus predictable good. Um, the best way of describing it to you is this: is that if I was to walk out on the street now, in fact, I'll tell you what, we'll use Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee had his style Jeet Kune Do, right? And when many other martial artists from other schools tried to fight Bruce Lee, he would literally batter the living crap out of them. And people would say, people were, they were kind of gobsmacked as to how Bruce Lee was able to do this. Bruce Lee was able to do it because he himself said, whereas these people are coming trying to attack me with a martial arts style that is embedded, it's written in stone. Thou shalt not deter from punching like this. Thou shalt not deter from blocking like that. Thou shalt not deter from that. Thou shalt not deter from this. Because it's written in stone, and it's out there. It literally is out there for all to see as well. It means that if I'm fighting someone that blatantly tells me, I know, I can even tell from the way the guy's standing. He's standing like this, right? When he's about to fight me, he's standing like this, right? I can tell there's a possibility that he does Aikido, because no one's going to stand with his hands held that low. So if I know a little bit about Aikido, I can predict every single thing about that person. I can predict he's going to try and block me this way, he's going to try and block me that way. Now, if I don't follow, there's nothing I do that's written in stone. I'm free flowing. I do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. He doesn't know what I'm going to do. He has no clue whatsoever. And that's what Bruce Lee was trying to say. He was trying to say that kind of, he was basically saying that styles kind of limit our ability to progress. Now, if you listen carefully to what I'm saying, and you think of people out there that are in villages in Africa, and they're using, whatever they can to pick up water from the lake and bring it home, and they're sticking to their old-fashioned traditional ways, and they refuse to take on the Western world's technology and all those kind of things. Those people are predictable. They do everything. They wake up in the morning, they do this at 6 o'clock, they then go away at 12 o'clock. And so how black people were conquered is they were conquered basically by their innocence and by their honesty and by the fact that they refuse to accept change. There's this movie with Tom Cruise, where The Last Samurai, and basically in the end a whole bunch of them got killed off, and they got killed off because they refused to take on the new Western world's ideology or technology, or and in the end it was swords versus guns. They stood zero chance of winning, and they were like, no, but we will go by our pride. Pride is what we will go by. Pride is going to get you killed because the other side is willing to do whatever it takes to kill you. They're going to win. The other side, if the other side had to put this way, if the other side captured 100 of your men and they wanted to know where the rest of you are hiding, right? Now imagine that your tradition and your people, that when you capture your when you capture their prisoners, you kill them instantly. You slice their throat, or you rehabilitate them. You put them in prison for 10 years, then you rehabilitate them into your population. That's what you do with their prisoners. So you don't put them under torture or this or that. Now imagine that when they're capturing 100 of your people, they're being slowly tortured. They've been tortured for years. They've had salt put on their wounds. They've had their eyes gouged out and then brought back to life. They're going through. The other side is willing to do whatever it takes in order to achieve their gains, to get what they need. So you have something called evil intelligence versus good intelligence. You have predictable good, where you know that these samurais are likely to be on horseback, are likely to try and fight with a sword, um, are likely to fight till they die, or this or that, are likely to leave their women at home when they battle. You know what they're doing, you know the blueprints to them, because they're good people, right? Versus predictable bad, which is willing to do anything. They'll win by any means necessary. They'll probably even kill their own mothers, or sell their own mothers out. If selling out their own, if the king had to sell out his own mother in order to win the war, he'd probably do it. It's one of those kind of things. So, you can't beat that, guys. Something like that, you can't beat. Evil intelligence versus good intelligence. All we can do as good people is rely on faith. That's all we can do. All we can do is hope that there's a higher power up there that's looking out for us. The saddest thing about black people is that they say that the slave ship had Jesus written on the name of it. The same slave ship that was transporting them and sometimes dumping them off the boat in hundreds to be drowned had the letters Jesus written on them. They say that that white people came over to the country, and this isn't a white or black thing again, because like I said to you, this is evil intelligence versus good intelligence, which I'll get into in the end of it. But they say that it's almost like they came over with a sword in one hand and the Bible in the other. Okay, and they were saying to people, right, you will live by this Bible, and at the same time they were kind of raping and slicing and killing people with a sword, but yet the Bible says thou shalt not kill. It was a complete, it was evil intelligence. It was predictable bad. The only thing that is predictable about predictable bad is that nothing is predictable. That's the only thing. The only thing that's predictable about predictable bad is that nothing is predictable. They're willing to do whatever it takes to win. Whereas predictable good, you can predict it. A man is not gonna sell out his own kid. He's not gonna sell out his own brother. He's not gonna sell out his own woman or his mum or this or that. He's not going to beat someone to death. He's not going to challenge someone to a fight, and then when the person says let's have it, they then back down, and then when the person turns their back, they then get a knife out and they attack the person from behind and all of that. What does that sound like today? Does that not sound like wrestling? Does that not sound like WWE? In 2090, when just after Hulkamania and all those kind of things, people was on. Because I always say to people, there's two things I noticed that changed. I wouldn't say any other race because I'm not too concerned about them. I always talk about black people. There's two things that changed black people's mentality. One of them was rap music, and the other one was the influence of wrestling. Because what wrestling did is you would have these good people coming out to the ring, predictable good, and they would do their thing and this and that, and they would stand up to the bad guys and all that and look them in their face and say do something and this and that, and then the bad guys would walk off and the good guys would watch them walk off, and then another segment a week later the bad guys come out again, and the good guys warn them again, listen man, you better, and then the bad guys back down. And then what would happen is this time the good guy would walk out and say, you know what, I told you, and he'd walk out, and the minute he turned his back, the bad guy would suddenly run and kick him in the back and hit him, and then four guys would jump out and beat up on the good guy. And what it was doing, wrestling, is it was trying to promote bad guys, just like rap. When rap's talking about, I'm a thug, brother, I'm a thug, and this is what thugs do, take your girl, treat your girl like a hoe, treat your girl like a, and all of that. You had two supreme forces psychologically kind of promoting predictable bad, and what they were saying is predictable good is for weak people. Okay, what you also had was, again, this I'm trying to say to people, that in the end it doesn't really boil down to skin color. Let me just let this fly out, guys. In the end, skin color has nothing to do with it. In the end, it doesn't make a difference what country you go to, it will always boil down to the same thing. Okay, So I was getting back, yeah. So you had the rap music saying it, and you also had things like wrestling promoting it as well. And then this is where it gets really sad, especially for black people, is that it got to a stage where our own women started to promote it. Well, boy, me want myself a bad man. You know what? No, good man. Good man don't pay the bills. Good man's weak. Is a good man gonna protect me and my family? You had our own women promoting it. Okay. Um, that's when us as black people were in a hell of a lot of trouble. Whereas other races, I think what they did is they came over to places like the UK and America, and they kind of, one guy said to me, he said, you know, you adapt, but you don't kind of, I think counselling say what you do is you put your toe into the water, but you don't jump in the water and immerse yourself in it. You still hold on to certain values. So other races, they're coming over here to the Western world, and they're still holding on to, you know, a woman can't live without a man can't live without a woman. You must both get married. You do what you can for your children. Whereas us as black, or the black race, a lot of us, somehow the psychological things like wrestling, rap music, and then negative things that we see on TV is kind of having the black woman going one way and the black guy going another way. I was listening to a song today where a black woman's talking about, I don't need a man, I can make it by myself. How many songs do you hear black women saying those things? But what happened is in the 90s you then started having black women kind of promoting it too. After seeing wrestling and rap music, they started promoting it. I mean, I want no soft guy, you know. I don't want someone weak and all of that. I want a strong man and this and that. But then when that strong guy turns around and they realize he's got 5 other baby mothers out there, and he refuses to let her go, even though he's got 5 other baby mothers, he's beating her and battering her around. Now they're on the internet and they're kind of, you know, trying to play the sob story or this or that. This is why this ties into my previous video, because it is, again, it's about that kind of self-awareness thing, you know. But I'm letting you guys understand the difference between predictable good and predictable bad, because the way the world's going today, for a man it makes more sense to be predictable bad. You know, there's no point in me going out on the street with my fists. And my dad always said, listen son, you don't ever use a weapon or this or that. You fight bare knuckle and you take them out of this or that. When my opponent's got a knife and pepper spray and acid and all those kind of things in his pocket, and he can pull that out when my back's turned, there's no rules, there's no decency, there's no morals. You know, I have a scar here, yeah, on my face, and that is from a guy that bit into my face. Okay, bit into my face. Had I have known that before the fight, oh my gosh, if I'd have known he would have done something like that before the fight, I can't even tell you what I would have done to something like that, because you'd be shocked to even hear it coming from my mouth. That's the best way of putting it to you. But I'm going to end this on saying that don't think that it's a colour thing. It's not a colour thing, because in certain other countries we have certain leaders, I think it was a dictatorship or whatever, you've got certain leaders that, because they run the whole country, they're one single entity that runs the whole country, there's no one to govern them or this or that. So what's happening is, in those countries, when people from below are starting, or masses or herds of them are starting to see certain things that they're doing was wrong, they're able to have those people wiped out, tortured and killed. That is a perfect example of evil intelligence. When you're killing people in your own country that are trying to oppose you or have something to say about the way you do things. Okay, that's evil intelligent. I think that's the only thing I can truly say about the Western world, because you hear me putting it down all the time and this or that, is that one thing I truly can say in countries like America and the UK, and this is the biggest thing that they have, is the fact that we do have freedom of speech. We are able to speak our mind and voice our opinions. If the Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London, Prime Minister of London, is doing certain things that are really wrong, I am able to go outside Parliament and shout out to Boris Johnson, so when you're going to feed the kids or this or that, and don't have to worry about me being shot or tortured or killed. That's one major thing we do have in this country. Okay, because I reckon it will get to a stage where, now they're saying this new world order thing is coming in, it will get to a stage where slowly that kind of dictatorship thing starts to move. And you know, let's face it, I'm not going to say what religion, but it's almost coming to that point now. From the time that someone, what did I say? How did I say the world, black people were conquered? You know, they're conquered. Someone went over there with a sword in one hand and a Bible in the other. Doesn't that sound similar to certain religions that are uprising today, where people are being killed if they don't follow it, where people are being tortured? Um, I was watching this thing. The last thing I say is I was watching this thing in India. This guy in India, someone put a picture of a pig on his Facebook page, and I think he never saw it at first, and then he went onto his Facebook page and saw it. He's like, what the hell? It was and what happened is he took it down immediately, but by then other people reported it. Wait a minute here, this Indian guy has a picture of a pork, which is it's against the religion to eat pork, so he has offended Allah, basically. That's what they said. And this guy was put on trial. I think he would have been murdered. He would have been sentenced. He would have been murdered. He would have been murdered to death. Then there was another guy where, and this is ludicrous again. I think someone had done a poster of some sort, and they put it up on the wall. Or it was, or it might even been a card, but I'm sure it was a poster, and it was a picture or something about a god. Okay, and it was offensive to him. He was like, "What? This is offensive." But it had the name like Allah on the poster, and he was really offended by it. So he grabbed it and he tore it off the wall, and he said, "No, they're not gonna insult my God." And he took it down off the wall and he threw it in the bin. And they said he basically, when he tore up the poster with the words Allah on it, he had offended Allah. He had basically blasphemed against Allah, and he was on trial for murder. You know. So what I'm saying to people about self-awareness, just think these days. You're either going to be a sheep, because I said this in a different video, I said a sheep or a sheep. You're either going to be a follower, forest a sheep, or you're going to be, you know, the master herder or whatever. Okay, you're going to be a leader, or you're going to be a follower. Okay, you're going to be a sheep, or you're going to be the herder. You're going to be one or the other. Okay, and yeah, just think, because we're falling into that world, and like I said, for men, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble, because women are kind of, especially us in the black race, women are forcing us towards the whole predictable bad thing. But the sad thing about that is that predictable bad, the only thing that's predictable about it is that you can't predict it. So yeah, it's a time bomb waiting to go off. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, thank you for watching this, guys. I hope you learned something from it, and I'll see you around in a while for another video. Thank you. Peace.